Fuck me at all.
That's heavy. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for the invocation by the Reverend Mark Sturchy of St. John's Episcopal Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. O God, the fountain of wisdom, whose will is good and gracious, and whose law is truth, be with us as we gather this evening for the Gloucester Township Council meeting. We lift up to you Officer Eric Quintavalli as he begins his recovery from his devastating stroke. We pray for his family and his children as they work with him, and for the police department as they support him. Be with these young men who have shown such a love for the sport of baseball and have demonstrated their skill in that sport. Bless David, our mayor, and grant him wisdom and grace in the exercise of his duties. We beseech you so to guide and bless our council members that their actions and decisions this night will please you and be to your glory and honor. Give them courage, wisdom, and foresight to provide for the needs of the community. Be with all those who serve the greater good in the public service of police, fire, and emergency workers. Keep them safe when they are called into dangerous situations. Teach our people to rely on your strength and to accept their responsibilities to their fellow citizens, that they may elect trustworthy leaders and make wise decisions for the well-being of our society, that we may serve you faithfully in our generation and honor your holy name. And we pray this night for all those who 10 years ago this day were so involved in rushing into places of such extreme danger. Be with their families and with those who survived and are still suffering from the consequences. For yours is the kingdom, O Lord, and you are exalted as head above all others. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Where you use electronic amplifying and recording device in order to obtain an audible and clear record, we request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. The recording device to be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's office shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans? Here. Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Mr. Garbowski?
Here.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Gintek? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Bianchini?
Present.
Mayor Merritt?
Here.
Mr. Moffett?
Present.
Mr. Lechner?
Here.
Chief Earl?
Here.
Mr. Carlemere?
Here.
Mr. Cardis?
Here.
We have presentations, and Mayor, you want to join me? Thank you, Mayor. Today it gives me great pleasure, along with Council and our Mayor, to honor Glendower Little League 2 district championship teams. As anybody knows, it takes a lot to have that team ready. There's a lot of work by the organization, by the administration of that league, as well as the coaches and the young players. These players represent our township in a great fashion, winning their districts. Anybody knows Little League is a big deal. We have Williamsport, and we have had champions from the state of New Jersey. So there's a lot of great competition in this area, and I am proud that our Glendower Little League has won not one but 2 district championships, and we want to honor them tonight. I'd like to ask if we could have the 9, 10-year-old coaches join us. I'm going to read the proclamation. Whereas the Gloucester Township Mayor and Council are pleased to salute the Glendora Little League District 14 champions, 9, 10-year-olds, in recognition of their outstanding accomplishments. And whereas Glendora Little League District 14 champion 9, 10-year-olds were undefeated in this summer's district and sectional championships. The players on the team went undefeated with a record of 5-0 to capture the District 14 championship. The Townley group of boys shut out their first 3 opponents by a combined score of 40-0 and allowed only 13 runs while scoring 53 runs in the districts. The championship game highlighted the players' skills and motivation. This was the first Glendora Little League team to win a 9-10 section game in the league history. The team went on to post 6-2 record in district and sectional championships. Whereas the members of the 2011 Glendora Little League District 4 champions, 9, 10-year-olds, and they will have their names announced. Whereas the Gloucester Township Mayor and Council acknowledged that the Glendora Little League District 14 champions, 9, 10-year-olds, who under the expert guidance of manager Joe Schneider and coaches Mark Lesh and Rob Taylor, with the strong support of their family and friends, performed with strength and determination throughout their memorable season. And whereas their talent and exemplary efforts in seeking and achieving athletic excellence have earned for the members and coaches of the 2011 Glendora Little League District 14 champions, 9, 10-year-olds, the respect of the Gloucester Township Mayor and Council, as well as the pride of the residents of the state of New Jersey. Now therefore, be it proclaimed that I, David R. Mayer, which is him, and Glenn Bianchini, which is me, President of the Gloucester Township Council, do hereby proclaim September 12, 2011 as Glendora Little League District 14 champions, 9 and 10-year-olds. And they commend the team, players, and coaches for the exceptional efforts and competitive spirit evidenced by their accomplishments. Congratulations.
Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me? On behalf of the Glendora Little League, it's the coaches, the kids, the parents, and all our fans. I'd like to thank the council and the mayor for recognizing our children tonight. The children, the boys, they roughly had about 14, maybe 14 days to prepare. We had 10 practices. In the beginning, we gave them a goal. Very first practice, we said we need 5 wins. And that's 1 pitch, 1 bat, 1 at bat, 1 inning, 1 game at a time. And I think they did that. They respected each other and they respected their opponents at all times. So congratulations, boys. Ian Fonalosa. Austin Riley. Thomas Huffnell Peggs. Joey Rappaport. Luke Kelly. Brian Rinaldi. Johnny Jackson. R.J. McGettigan. Colin Taylor. Luke Lesh. Joey Snyder.
Here, hold this across the front. Sean, come over here. Go around this way. Colin, you're tall. RJ, you're a little taller.
On the left hand side, pull down. On the left. That was lovely.
Thank you.
As we stated earlier, not only did the 9-10-year-olds have a successful tournament season, the 13-14-year-olds went out and did the same thing, did another fantastic job representing Glendower and Gloucester. If I could have the coaches of the 13-14-year-old team join us, please. And again, I'll read the proclamation. Whereas the Gloucester Township Mayor and Council are pleased to salute the Glendower Little League District 14 champions, 13-14-year-olds, in recognition of their outstanding accomplishments. And whereas the Glendower Little League District 14 champions, 13-14-year-olds, defeated every opponent they faced in their quest to capture the 2011 District Championship. The Glendower Little League District 14 champions, 13-14-year-olds, won each of their 3 games by 10 runs or more and were supported by solid pitching and defensive performance by the players. They outscored their opponents by a combined total of 40-8. Coach Thiessen characterized the experience by saying it was a great group of players that came together to earn the 2nd District Championship in a row for the Glendower Little League junior team. Whereas the members of the 2011 Glendower Little League District 14 champions, 13-14-year-olds, and they will be announced. Whereas the Gloucester Township Mayor and Council acknowledge that the Glendower Little League District 14 champions, 13-14-year-olds, who under the expert guidance of manager Harry Thiessen, coaches Tim Gallagher and Frank Plefka, with the strong support of their family and friends, performed with strength and determination throughout their memorable season. And whereas their talent and exemplary efforts in seeking and achieving athletic excellence have earned for the members and the coaches of the 2011 Glendower Little League District 14 champions, 13-14-year-olds, the respect of the Gloucester Township Mayor and Council, as well as the pride of the residents of the state of New Jersey. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, David R. Mayor, and Glenn Bianchini, President of the Gloucester Township Council, do hereby proclaim September 12, 2011, as Glendower Little League District 14 champions, 13 and 14-year-olds. And they commend the team players and coaches for the exceptional efforts and competitive spirit evidenced by their accomplishments. Congratulations.
I'd just like to thank all the boys for coming together this year. They've really played together well. We did back-to-back championships. It was pretty nice. All the parents for support, because I know I practiced the boys every night that we possibly could. With the coaching staff, the kids, the parents, I really appreciate it. Thanks for having a good year. See you next year. Nick Tyson first. Come on, sit down. You're always in trouble, always. Brandon Hill first. Dante Lacchetto. Matt Emenecker. Michael I'm Tired Wade. Let's go. My favorite, Parker Williams. Chris Catrapa. Sean Breen. Keith Rinaldi. Frank Plata. Dylan Gallagher. And now Nick.
Before we take a picture, let me just echo the council president's congratulations on behalf of myself and the other members of council. Thank you to all of the coaches, to the parents, everyone who volunteers their time to make this organization what it is. Because what you are doing is making Gloucester Township a great place to live, to grow up in. And so I really thank you for being a part of our community and being there for the youth of our community, teaching them great sportsmanship and just a great sport. And to the guys and to all the players, congratulations. You are making us proud. When I hear that you have made history, that we are making history here in Gloucester Township, that is just really makes us all very, very proud. And so congratulations to you. Now, I have to tell you that as a mayor, I have to keep pushing the bar higher. So next year, we're going to be standing here congratulating you on the state championships, right? That's what we're going to do. We'll just keep raising that bar higher. And the other, really one of the disappointing parts of tonight is I realized how short I am, because these guys, I'm going to have to stand in front of these guys, you see, for the picture. I don't know. But congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't get in. Watch this.
Everybody's here for cheating, too. No, she's not. Stay there.
Both teams up.
Hey, you guys back up. Yeah, you guys, well, stay here, guys. Back up. Let the other just get in front of you.
if we could just have everybody's attention, I want the president, Mike, of the Glendora Little League to say a few words.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, and yeah, I'm going to say that in a second. Just like to say, I'd like to thank Township Council for recognizing the boys tonight. We really appreciate it. We do appreciate everything you do for us as our league with Glenn, Len, doing anything for us, and it doesn't go unappreciated, even though we call sometimes with little complaints here or there, but we appreciate everything you do for us, from the mayor, Glenn, coming out to support us, Dan for getting me into volunteering, 8 years ago? I still owe you one for that one. But I just want to say congratulations to our league, to the players here today, and all the coaches and parents who came out. I've been a part of this league about 7 years, and it's the best I've ever seen. You guys are doing a great job with the kids and the coaches. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Council has to go into closed session, so we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll go into closed session right after.
We have to do a resolution before we go in. Okay. Well,
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
same one, just different.
I ran right over Roger. First year, I don't know how long, but we didn't do nothing. And I was told, listen, no, don't worry about it, just come, you know, and I ain't going to do that, you know, it's just, and nobody, honestly, I think everybody feels the same way when it comes to us from the kids. Just come, you know. I tell you, not last year, it was either the year before or 2 years prior, one or the other. I had 2 tickets. Because whoever was supposed to go that night, I think Richie was supposed to go, he wasn't going to show up. I think we had 4. Me and Leon were going, and the other 2 people didn't show up. And I think I called Glenn, and he didn't answer me. It was almost the last minute, but I tried to call Glenn, I tried to call Lenny, I think I tried to call Lenny, and maybe even Kevin Beach. And nobody answered me, and we blew 2 tickets that year. It's funny, it is a very good place. But we do have it on the agenda.
Yeah. Did you get to read the whole language?
They sent me the language. They were supposed to, and Mary Ann didn't get it to me.
Well, you take a look at it real quick.
Did they got it?
Call the meeting back to order, please. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Evans? Here. Mr. Hutchison? Present. Mr. Grabowski?
Here.
Mr. Schmidt? Yes. Mrs. Gintek? Here. Mr. Mercado? Present. Mr. Bianchini?
Present. We now have to go into closed session, and this is for purpose of litigation. So do I have a motion to accept resolution or approve resolution 255, resolution to exclude public from discussion of exempt subject matter in regular session, Township Council pursuant to Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Grabowski?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Gintek?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
It involves a workers' comp complaint that's been filed, and the workers' comp attorney is present to the court counsel. How long? I can't tell you how long. Right now it's 8:05, which we'll put on the record, so that should not be too long. It should be just a briefing to counsel.
This is very happy to see you sitting back there. I just hope you're loaded. Is it mine? Let me go look at it. Or go on a website and there's ways to find out. But I think we will still keep doing them for the long can. I even started spring cleaning. We do in April. Right, send a couple weeks. Yeah. People want to clean up their lawns and stuff like that.
It's 8:09 according to my watch or my clock here. We were in closed session for approximately 4 minutes. It was a matter of litigation. It was a matter of workers' comp litigation, and the matter has not been resolved. When it is resolved, we will have the minutes published, and the public will be able to review it. Dave, is there anything else to add to that?
Yeah. You should do a roll call that everyone's back from closed session.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Evans? Here. Mr. Hutchison? Present. Mr. Grabowski?
Present.
Mr. Schmidt? Mrs. Gintek? Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. B?
Present. Now have the first public portion. Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda item, please raise your hand and come to the microphone. Mr. Barrett.
Good evening, council members. Joshua Berry, 2033 Broadacres Drive. I want to ask about Resolution R-11:01042, the Responsible Contractor Standard Policy. First, just some general overview type questions, and then some specifics about this resolution as it showed on the agenda. So, first off, why the need for this?
That was a resolution that was recommended through council just to tighten up some of the specifications that go out. There was some council members that had not necessarily concern over contractors, but wanted to see contractors coming forward with a little more training on OSHA issues, a little more specifics on the type of trades that they had significant backgrounds, and the resolution attempts to address that. Those particulars that address the quality or qualifications of contractors and their subcontractors, as far as their training and OSHA safety requirements, will be put in as part of our specs when it addresses contracts over the current bid threshold that applies to Gloucester Township, which I believe is $36,000.
Okay, so have we had any projects or what you would call significant construction fail or be in any way non-compliant because of untrained or unskilled labor?
None to my knowledge, and I don't think in experience in Gloucester Township there has not been, but the council members that were introducing it felt to be proactive and perhaps be more proactive in making those requirements part of our bid specifications.
Okay, so just so I understand this was a proactive move. When this is not a reaction to something that happened, you're just trying to prevent something that might happen in the future. Is that correct? Okay. I know that you had mentioned there was an issue with some contractors, but are there any current Gloucester Township contractors who would not meet this resolution?
I can't answer that.
Okay, so then I'll assume to the best of your knowledge, they all meet this, correct? Okay, that's fine.
I can't give you an answer one way or another myself.
Okay, fair enough. And then I want to get into some of the specifics of this. In the second whereas, we're talking about we want all workers involved in the construction to have the ability to plan for their future retirement. I understand the reason for wanting to have all workers being able to have some kind of retirement, but why are we placing this condition on a contractor? As a town, we're just trying to get good service at the lowest price. So with this, again, I'm assuming you don't know what all the benefits are of every contractor, but why force a contractor to have specific benefits?
I think the discussion around this was to make sure that there was no people coming in or no illegal aliens, if you will. And they're my words, it's not necessarily in here. We want to make sure that the worker was fairly treated, and that people that have the abilities to do the job have access to these jobs.
Has anyone done the financial analysis of the impact of what adding this benefit would do to the cost of capital projects?
Not to my knowledge. you understand this is being introduced as a resolution, not as an ordinance, which is if their experience shows that the resolution is more of a hindrance, then it can be adjusted as we go forward.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. Now I'm going back to the third whereas, when we're talking about satisfactory records regarding past project performance. I'm assuming that when we select vendors today, that we do look at their body of work as one of the key fields for selecting them. Is that correct?
We always, when our engineer is involved, we ask them their experience with that contractor. Was there any issues that they may have been aware of? So we ask the people running that project, usually our engineers, to give us that breakdown of that low bidder, if you will.
Okay, fair enough, thank you. Next, whereas, due to the limited availability of skilled construction craft labor and imminent craft labor skills shortages. Maybe I'm reading different newspapers than you are, but we seem to be in a pretty bad recession now. Do we still think this is accurate?
I think the design was that, at least as it was presented, is that those that were responding had workers that were skilled in the trade that they were bidding on, that there was training, and that's how that, whereas that resolution came in, that they've gone through appropriate apprenticeship programs, that they meet that requirement, that who's ever going to be doing a substantial work contract in the Township of Gloucester has skilled laborers.
Well, that's a separate issue. I'm talking about the phrase, the limited availability of skilled construction craft labor. Is there a shortage of skilled construction craft labor? And I'm asking because, again, the articles that I read talk about 50% unemployment for the iron workers that Steve Sweeney represents. And maybe that's just one specific area, but are there others where...
And there's a lot of different crafts, and again, not using that as my term. There's a lot of different crafts. There's the plumbers, there's steel workers, as you mentioned, there's the bricklayers, etc. We want to make sure by this, the way I read that and how I believe it's constructed is make sure they have the proper skills and the proper training and the proper abilities in order to do the best job that we're paying for.
All right. Now when we're in the therefore be it resolved section, Section 1, business entity seeking to provide services to the Township of Gloucester. Then later we define that is anything that might fall under the Prevailing Wage Act. I just want to make sure that we're not including our landscapers and other service providers that are not capital project type of workers.
I believe they fall under the prevailing wage.
Okay, so the prevailing wage would supersede that clause, is that correct? All right. Next page. So when we're talking about the prevailing wage, we're talking about capital projects, we're talking about things like the hockey rink or new building or new roof, is that correct? Are there any other types of projects? Well, I'm assuming roads, lights?
Roads.
Okay.
Drainage.
Are the contractors that we use today, do they have to use prevailing wage, or is this a new condition?
My understanding, and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, that New Jersey Prevailing Wage Act has been in effect for a long time, so they have to do that currently.
Okay, thank you. Again, I'm not an expert in labor law, which is why I'm asking. So point 3, firms bidding on contracts, ... satisfactory record of law compliance, integrity, and business ethics. In a lot of the other pieces of this resolution, we clearly enumerate what the standards are. Who sets the standards of integrity and business ethics, and what are they?
I would imagine this resolution makes it appropriate when you draft your specs to put language in there to either specifically request if there's been any complaints or litigation filed, any New Jersey wage and hour complaints or those kind of things, to have that bidder that's responding in accordance with this section as we put those things in the specs, that they have to indicate yes or no to a question that addresses this issue.
Okay, so those are, so anything outside of what you just mentioned would not be considered? Am I correct in understanding that?
I don't understand that question.
Okay, this is a general statement that shall be required to have a satisfactory record. That to me is more of a subjective condition.
There's going to be questions, I would imagine, when this resolution finds its way into particular specs. There will be a section of questions that the bidder will have to respond to that deals with the issues that you just spoke about.
This also talks about record of law compliance, integrity. So if there's any records or any lawsuits that are out there, I guess, that would be questionable, then they will fall under that.
That bidder will have to answer the question and disclose those things.
Okay, and I think the last question I have here, and I'm on bullet point 5 here, where we're stating that the only worker that could be used on a project has got to be at least a journeyman worker. Is that correct?
Which answer is here again? What section are you reading?
Section 5.
5. All contractors and subcontractors that perform significant work on any public facility project shall be required to affirmatively provide evidence of and confirm compliance with proof of participation in an apprentice's program currently registered and approved by the United States Department of Labor or the New Jersey Department of Labor, or submit a statement of agreement not to employ any worker of less than journeyman status. That, again, reaffirms that the quality of the individuals that are going to be working on the project through that successful bidder are going to have the proper credentials or ability to perform the work that they're being assigned.
Okay, so again, as a layman, what does a journeyman mean as far as experience level? Are we talking about someone in their late 20s or 30s? How many years in the job typically are we talking about here?
As I understand,
Barmasky, you want to answer that?
Can you answer that? This isn't, Dave, the way it's worded, I think this is in conflict with the apprenticeship program, because according to our state prevailing rate, we have a 4-to-1 apprenticeship program in the carpenters union. So you are allowed to put an apprentice on a prevailing wage job as long as he's a certified apprentice from an apprentice program that's certified with the state of New Jersey. So that wording is a little wrong.
Okay,
that's how it was provided. So I mean, I think if you're not prepared to move on with that language as a journeyman, I mean, I'm not technical in that language, but that's what was requested and how it was explained to assure that the individuals that will be performing the work under a successful contractor, that they have a certain level of participation in an apprentice program and a certain completion. And what was told to me as a journeyman status, that's how that language was placed in the resolution.
So again, and this is where Mr. Grabowski, I'll defer to you. So if I come in as an apprentice, am I considered to be a journeyman if I'm working under someone else as part of an apprentice program?
Now you're an apprentice.
Okay, then it seems that this needs to be reworked a little bit. Because here we're making it quite clear, you've got to be a journeyman. At the same time, you've got to have an apprentice program. So then I just ask that this gets tabled again and reworded so there are no conflicts.
I agree. Council President, I think that we should table it, and I would move to table it.
Well, when we get to the resolution, though, we can definitely do that.
Okay, well then, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Schmidt?
John Schmidt, 1 West Thompson Avenue, Gloucester City. Going back to R11:09-255, the resolution to enter into executive session. Under the Open Public Meetings Act, when a government entity goes into executive session and passes a resolution, they need to state the specific nature why. If I wasn't here tonight, you just would have gone in for litigation. You got to be more specific than that. like you followed it up or workers' comp, maybe be more specific, workers' comp is police department, public works department, whatever municipal department it may be, without giving the employee's name away or disclosing any details. And I would ask, if possible, that could be done in the future. Also, I know from a few cases in the Open Public Meetings Act law, as well as the Rutgers Supreme Court case last year, when I believe the Supreme Court ruled that, I guess it's not the Board of Trustees, I forget what they call it, the governing body at Rutgers, went into executive session, would go into executive session in the meeting without stating how long. And the courts found that's a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act, and said you really have to tell them an estimated time of how long, so I would ask that you do that. Furthermore, if it is an executive session matter, I know part of that court ruling was wait till after the public comment period and then go into exec. If you would consider that, or at least say how much time. I want to say John Half might have done something with the executive session resolution. I don't know the exact what your resolution is. Is it based off the sample one that he sends out?
This is the resolution that we have adopted in accordance with what we believe is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, sets forth the 9 categories. And then, as you indicated, there's been some rulings that talk about time, and I'll review those and communicate with council accordingly.
At least when you go into exec, maybe the clerk could read the specific exemptions. 3, is it 6? And just read the wording and whatever you have in there. Give the public, as much information as possible. If it should in the future, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Schmidt, just so where I've asked the solicitor to advise us on those rules, obviously, and also if we could put in the header what the specific items that we're going into closed session, so that the public can see that right on the heading.
Now, that's probably my biggest, I don't call it pet peeve, but just to make sure government agencies, you got to state the reason, because a lot of times you have issues that are ongoing for a while. Obviously, people aren't subject, but they should have a right to have a general nature where it's a court decision, or it turns into a court decision to go and request those court documents to try to follow along.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Mustard Cameron Circle. I have a question on resolution R1109-270. Resolution confirming an emergency situation in Gloucester Township Community Park and appropriation of funds for the repairs to the irrigation well pump. What is the cost, and when did this happen? Why didn't they have time to bid it?
Well, as we stated at the workshop, Linda, we had a situation down there that the Public Works director and his staff felt that if we would have went out and waited for the bid process, we would have lost multiple fields of soccer fields down there, and probably the football field. I'm not sure if that was in that same zone. So the amount was $13,453. Am I correct, Mr. Moffa?
Correct.
And so his decision was, and we've lost those fields, which would have cost us $50,000 to replace those fields, was to make that decision and go ahead, and he did that with administration's blessing on that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Well, anyone else? Mr. Pillow?
Good evening, Council. If I could, I just want to go back to the resolution with
Mr. Pillow, could you give us your name and your address, please?
Joseph Pillow, 10 Monroe Drive, Glenwood. Referring to this order, number 5, I don't believe there was a reason to table. I do believe it is worded correctly. If you look at the language and notice after it mentions U.S. Department of Labor, you'll see the word "or." What that's saying is they don't show significant evidence of compliance to the apprenticeship program. You would have to submit, or you have to submit stating that in that case you would need to hire journeyman members only, because you cannot
And
hire an apprentice.
Joe's right. When I was reading this again, this is just putting into consideration if a contractor comes in, bids on a job, and says that he has an approved apprenticeship, and he doesn't really have an approved apprenticeship program, he can only pay every individual the journeyman rate. If he has a bona fide apprenticeship program, puts an apprentice on that job, he can pay him lower than the standard journeyman's rate. That's how it's worded.
Yeah, under the prevailing wage laws, you cannot pay any worker on the job anything less than the prevailing rate by law, unless they're registered in a certified program. And that's all that number 5 is referring to, is that certified program. And if you're not in a certified program, you're agreeing to that you will, as per the prevailing wage laws, pay the prevailing wage as a journeyman rate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Filon. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we'll close the first public portion. Bids?
Gloucester Township School District, and Black Horse Pike Regional School District Solar PV Project.
Motion to accept the bids?
So moved. Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Grabowski?
Yes, but I'd like to abstain from August 8th. Bids, I'm sorry. Accept.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek? Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Minutes?
Waive the reading and accept the minutes of July 25th, August 8th, and August 22nd, and September workshop.
Motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans?
I will say yes to July 25th, August 8th, but I will have to abstain from 22nd because I was not able to attend.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes to July 25th. I abstain as to August 8th. Yes to August 22nd. And yes to the workshop.
Mr. Grabowski?
Yeah, let me try this again. Yes to July 25th, abstain from August 8th, yes to August 22nd, and yes to the workshop.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes to all days with the exception of August 22nd. I was on vacation, to abstain.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Now have ordinance of first reading. Ordinance O-11-20. Ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Gloucester giving and granting permission to South Jersey Gas to furnish gas for light, heat, and power in the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, State of New Jersey. This is renewing the
Correct. Allowing utility companies such as South Jersey Gas. By statute, this ordinance has to be reaffirmed every 50 years by statute. So this is more or less a housekeeping ordinance, amending it or extending it to that 50-year period required by statute.
motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Grabowski?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Resolutions tabled.
Resolution of Township Council, the Township of Gloucester recommend and establish responsible contractor standard policy.
We have a motion to adopt.
Mr. President, I move to table this for several reasons. I don't want to have to state every reason on the record, but I think that we need to look at the cost implications that this potentially could have. And I couldn't answer that question right now, and I feel that I have to know that answer.
Second.
I second.
On the question, roll call to table it.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Garbowski?
No, I believe this has been put off long enough. It's been in place in Burlington County. It's been put in place in Gloucester County. It's been put in place in Camden County. There's nothing in that specs that won't help us out. When we go to put jobs out for bid, I want the best qualified person to get that job. And I think it's time to vote on it.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Gintek?
Okay, so I'm voting no to table.
Yes will be to table, and no will be not to table.
Okay, no, I don't want to table.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes to table, but I'd like to bring it back as soon as possible to council and clean up some of the questions that we have. But yes to table.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes, to table. It's table. All right. We now have the consent agenda. If any council person wishes to remove any of these resolutions, please let me know now.
Yes, President and Council, I'd like to remove the consent agenda for R:11:09-270.
Mr. 70?
And also, President, I'd like to pull 11:09-269.
Anyone else? So we are pulling out of the consent agenda Resolution 269 and Resolution 270. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda minus those two resolutions?
I'll make that motion, Mr. President.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Garbowski?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt? Mrs. Gintek?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
269, resolution authorizing soliciting of an RFP via the Gloucester Township website for municipal court department collection.
This resolution will allow the township to solicit RFPs for municipal court collections. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Garbowski?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Gintek?
Abstain?
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
.270, resolution confirming an emergency situation at the Gloucester Township Community Park and appropriation of funds for the repairs to the irrigation well pump and confirming the award of a contract to B&F Environmental Drilling without quotes and without public bidding pursuant to NJSA 40A4-46.
As discussed earlier, this resolution allows the township to fund the appropriation for repairs to the irrigation well pump in our Gloucester Township Community Park. It was an emergency situation that would have cost in excess of $40,000 to repair those fields if they were let to burn up. So we look for a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans?
I'm voting no on this because I'm for the fields, of course. I don't want to see them being lost, but at the same token, in my opinion, I felt as though when a contractor gives us a price to pay for something, and we trust that contractor, we accept their bid, they go out, they fix it, and then they come back after it's fixed and said, well, you know, we had an additional problem with this, and we had to do this, and it's going to cost us another additional amount of money, and we have to quickly give the money without voting on it or seeing the problem. I didn't see any pictures or anything, I don't know. So now we're paying additional, I think it was $14,000 more, if I'm not mistaken.
Can I, a point of clarification, Kristen, you're confusing two different projects. You're confusing the project that CES came in when they did a project, I believe, on Malibu Drive. This is where fields were going to be lost because it was during the heat wave prior to the weekend. We had 100-degree weather. It was lost. They went down there. They found there was a problem with the motor of the particular well, and they had to act on it. So this is not a change order, or they didn't give us a price. This was something that took place, that had to take place in July to save the field.
Well, okay, well,
So
that's
you're
fine.
confusing the two
No,
issues.
no. I understand what you're saying, but I recall also, I remember this also, I think we had the same issue last year with, I think it was VJ Landscaping. Again, the fields were going to be lost. I can't quite remember the name of the landscaping company, but it's every year, it's an emergency. So, I mean, I know we had a hot summer, we also had a lot of rain. And I just think that I would like to know before we just go out there and just put this emergency money out, and, you know, find out if we found another way of doing it without having to put out a cost. So, for that, I am saying no.
Mr. Hutchison?
Mr. Cars, where would this money be coming from?
Money for this repair?
Yeah.
From the open space.
Open space. Okay, so this is, we have a pool of money in the open space account designed to address these types of concerns with fields and with these issues in the town, correct? Okay. Len, I'm going to vote yes for this, and I think it's important to understand that a no vote would have a chilling effect, in my opinion, on repairs being made. There were two options that this individual theoretically could have chose. One is to go down there and make a repair, which was not going to be sufficient. If we vote no, then I believe contractors would be more likely to do something like that. I think it's important to give accolades to your department and to this particular vendor for doing the right thing, fixing the problem, saving this town a tremendous amount of money that we would have otherwise had to incur. Maybe I'm mixing apples and oranges, but I remember a few years back we had a tremendous amount of problems with the sprinkler systems, where it's probably a different situation, but there was incorrect grout being used by a vendor, and that resulted in a tremendous amount of money this town having to put forth. So I'm voting yes, and those are the reasons why I'm voting yes.
Mr. Gorbowski?
Lenny, you were confident that this had to be done, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Regular agenda?
75, resolution authorizing renewal of plenary retail distribution liquor licenses in the Township of Gloucester.
This resolution authorizes the renewal of plenary retail distribution liquor license in the township. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Gorbowski?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt? Mrs. Gentek?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
276, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Gloucester, Camden County, New Jersey, authorizing the award of a contract to Project Navigator Ltd. pursuant to an RFP for a lease and development of a solar photovoltaic facility at the Owens Corning site located at 300 Summerdale Road.
This resolution allows the township to authorize the award of a contract to Project Navigator Ltd. This will allow the contractor to permit them to do a feasibility study that is necessary in the development of the solar photovoltaic facility. Also, this does not eliminate the ability of the township to negotiate and execute a lease agreement that is acceptable, and obviously our legal counsel will be assisting on that. This allows, again, everybody to do diligence on this project, and the final part of this is it's necessary for us, before we do anything on the site, is that we need to get the deed of title of the land. Mr. Carlin, anything else to add to that?
No, I think that set forth the conditions that are required under this award.
I have a motion to adopt that resolution.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Gorbowski?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Mayor's report, Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. Good evening. Yesterday, our township paused to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks, and I want to thank the Choose Landing Fire Company for putting together a very moving program, for taking the initiative and having the vision to retrieve a portion of the beam from one of the World Trade Centers, which is now on permanent display here in Gloucester Township, so that all of our residents can always remember the victims of September 11th. And it is our hope that we will turn in each year a memorial service that will commemorate that. So it was a very well done program, and again I commend the Choose Landing Fire Company for their help with that. The Owens Corning solar farm is underway, and I thank council for your support with that. We'll be working through the logistics of that, but it is something that is looking to be not only very good for the environment, but also helps the Choose schools save money, as well as generate revenue for the township. That is all part of our energy master plan. The energy master plan has been completed. It's something that we have been working on for really the last year and a half. It includes the Owens Corning site, as well as the new photo solar bids for our schools, which has just been received, which we are reviewing now. So it's a very comprehensive solar plan, and we'll certainly continue to keep you informed as we move forward with that.
Thank you, Mayor. We do not have any GTE Gov access questions, and I will now open it up to the public for the second public portion. If anybody has any questions on any subject, please. Yes, sir.
Aaron Gladden, 44 Greens Way. Like you said, I'll give you a nice job with Choose Landing, a nice spot to pick it at. The guys at Choose Landing are good people, and hopefully they take care of that ground. So that's a good choice on their part. I got to give you that a boy. Saturday, I had the opportunity to go see the Empty Sky Memorial with the families and stuff, and that was a really moving experience that I went through on that day. So it made me reflect on a lot of things here and look over the past almost a year since I started coming to council meetings. And I hear things throughout the year, and it seems like we're not getting nothing done progressive here. We have a community development director. Do we have that? A paid community development director, sir? Council President? Do we have a paid community development director to help the community?
Mr. Lecter. I'm sorry.
Mr. Lecter? Okay, because in my community, I see for sales signs going up left and right. I see businesses moving out in a heartbeat. I mean, like, 1 minute they're there, and the next minute they ain't making it. Now, I don't know how much we're paying him, but we got to start developing our community a little bit more. I coach on a youth football program, GT Lions, and our fields drainage is horrible. Even though I know it's been a rainy season, so you can't blame everything. But actually, I dug up a little bit of the ground, and you can see that it's just like clay dirt. The water does not move anywhere. Now I'm looking at these kids, our kids, playing on these fields and I'm getting eaten alive, they're getting eaten alive, but we're there to, provide service for the kids, give them something to do. And it's like, we got to step up. Like the mayor said, raise the bar. I'm raising the bar on all of this. You know what I mean? Go around and look at this town. See the things that we need to get done. Like what happened to the ball fields? Weren't we supposed to have ball fields built in August?
I was a private contractor.
So what happened with that?
My understanding, the mayor can add to that, the private contractor had some issues in obtaining funding. So he was unable to start the project and is still working on the funding issues.
So we're working on funding issues.
Not we, the developer is working
finances.
on it.
What about the other organizations like the ball fields and stuff like that, the upkeeps? Are we keeping any kind of records on, like, maybe we can help out by doing this? Maybe, you know what I mean, like the hockey rinks. I seen the price tag on the hockey rinks, and sir, my son plays hockey, know a lot of kids that play hockey. I coached a couple years in hockey, and I don't see where $2 million was put into there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not stepping the bar up for ourselves. Because if we did spend $2 million on that, I would send Chief Earl to go after some people because, you know, I don't think there's $2 million that should have been spent there.
Well, if you would like, Mr. Gladden, I'm sure Mr. John would sit down with you and show you what.
Yeah, I would love to see that one day. So all I got to do is call up here.
A lot of site work that went into that project. And so, I mean, I think our engineer can review that with you.
Yeah, I would love to have a time with him to review that.
List of the items and what was paid for is a pretty detailed list of how it was paid.
Okay. All right, sir. That's good. Another thing, when I called you back in before I went on vacation in July about a question about the air quality in our schools, and you asked me, and we had a pretty good conversation on the phone. I still haven't gotten on back.
Oh, Darren, I'm sorry, but I did call you Saturday. I could actually show the time because I wrote it down. I wrote a message on your voicemail saying that I spoke to Tom Seddon regarding that matter, that he would like you to call his office. He's not aware of any type of issue associated with that, but he'd be happy to talk to you about it.
Okay, no problem. Like I said, when I talk to you on the phone, all I want to say is people are bringing up these issues, and the best thing to do is say, here's the air quality reports that we have by an independent. You know what I mean?
Message on your cell phone.
There we go. Thank you, guys, and I'll have a great day.
Thank you. Mr. Schmidt?
John Schmidt, Longest Thompson Avenue, Gloucester City. Before I get into it, just sitting in the back, it's a little difficult sometimes to hear over there. I don't know if it's possible to maybe move some type of microphone over there so it can be picked up and amplified a little bit better, possibly, because I can hear you all fine. It's a little, I can hear, but you know, I'm young, you know, so maybe for future you can look into that.
Thank you.
Last meeting I was here and I spoke about the fire district. Well, 2 meetings ago, the last one of these, not the workshop. And I've spoken to a few commissioners, people within the fire service, and it's been about an hour and a half going through the laws of the state of New Jersey under Title 40A. 40A:14-88, compensation for members of boards of fire commissioners. The secretary and treasurer shall be members of the board, and their appointment shall be for terms of 1 year. Each member of the board of fire commissioners shall receive a compensation, such amounts as the board shall fix, subject to review by the governing body wherein the fire district is located. If you have a new council, you know, obviously these are laws. Obviously, that's why you have a solicitor to go through the laws. You obviously review the fire district commissioner salaries. It's part of the law. So your lawyer is doing fire district, possibly doing law work for you, and he's solicitor for 5 of the 6 fire districts. Now, it's not personal. If this was a different solicitor, it'd be the same thing. But I thought this is kind of interesting. Now I'm starting to finally see some overlap of some illegal issue where under the law you do review statute of law.
That is dealing with the fire district, which is governed by the commissioners.
That's right. Title 40A indicates that salaries paid to commissioners are budgetary items. If you read some of the background history to that, it's budgetary items. The budgets, once they're adopted, are all filed with the municipality as well as first approved by the Department of Community Affairs, Local Finance Board, and anything that's in that budget, including their salaries, is filed with the municipality. I don't know of any governing body in South Jersey or anywhere in Jersey that oversees any of the issues of a fire district budget, except when those financial issues come in when a budget is rejected.
This is not even when the fire budget goes down. It's compensation for members, and it states they shall receive compensation such amounts as the board shall fix, subject to review by the governing body wherein the fire district is located.
Yeah, it's not a mandated review before a salary is approved, so long as the commissioner's salaries are voted on are put into the budget, are approved by the voters when their budgets go to voters, and approved by the Department of Community Affairs. It's not a mandatory requirement that governing bodies of the towns in which fire districts are located have any oversight of their fire district commissioners. They may, if they choose, and those issues have been reviewed, in my recollection, maybe 2 or 3 times when district budgets have been rejected.
Well, under the law, it is possible for a township governing body to review the salaries, set the salaries of the Board of Fire Commissioners.
Right, it's a possibility, not a mandate.
Okay. When was the last time this council fixed the budget for Fire District 5 Lambs Terrace?
It's been a while. I don't think it's been maybe 5, 6 years.
A couple of years. I haven't dealt with the defeated budget in a couple of years.
No, I don't really have an answer for that.
I'm really concerned about this. I would hope next time that I hope never fire district budget's never go down, but I hope if it does go down, it has to come before you, that you seriously take a look at how much that fire district chairman out of District 5 is making. Close to $20,000 a year for chairman of a fire district with an operating budget of $1.4 million. The average, I would say, out of the fire districts I've looked at, I'm looking at a lot of them, might be about $5,500 for a chairman. $20,000 is really ridiculous. Just wanted to add that in there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Last night I saw the commercial for the single stream recycling, and I was just curious as to how much we spent on that, to have that out there, to produce it, to put it out there.
Mr. Carter, you want to?
Yeah. The total cost, there's still a 50% payment due for the TV production, but the total cost will be $88,796, which is coming from the New Jersey recycling tonnage grant. And we have spoken with Joe Davis, who is the head of the recycling tonnage grant, and this is a permissible expenditure for advertising and promotion of any type of recycling effort.
And how long do you expect that it'll run?
I'm not sure.
Scheduled to run through September.
And what's your hope for this? I mean, how many people, do you have a set goal of how many people you expect to participate in this program? Or
Yeah, everybody I hope will participate in this program. Canisters will be delivered, and that's what the message of the commercial is, to not only improve our recycling numbers and draw attention to that, which is good for the environment, but it's also good financially for the town. So we're going to decrease the amount of trash that we make, in essence, because we pay per ton.
Right.
So if it weighs less, we'll pay less. And then we'll increase our recycling, which we sell. And then we get more money through that tonnage grant that Tom was referring to. So in essence, in November, we're going to deliver 20,000 canisters to your house and everybody else's home.
Right.
And we want people to participate in this program because it is, again, good for the environment, it's good financial.
no, that makes total sense. But I think the same message was communicated in the newsletter, and if we're making personal deliveries, couldn't we have saved that money and not done this type of advertising?
Yeah, it's interesting. The trust fund that Tom's referring to has been in existence for a long time, and the township's never used it. Its purpose is to increase recycling. So we're going to use it because we're going to increase recycling in this town. And that's I think communicating, whether it's through newsletter, through our website, which we're going to do, through television, I think is a very good medium.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
President, members of council, Sam Garrow, 9 Bluestone Circle. Just as a follow-up to that question, I was wondering too, where other towns seem to have other ways of trying to promote recycling, like coupons, things of that nature. Are we thinking about anything like that?
Yeah, we are. We're looking at that. There is a firm that does coupons, if you will. If you look at Cherry Hill, they have a firm. What's the name?
Recycle Bank.
Recycle Bank that does that. The difficulty is that they charge for that. And what I've said to that firm is, we're not paying. So if there's a way we can come up with a model where we can make revenue off of that, then we'll do that. Secondary to that, what we're trying to do is come up with our own incentive.
businesses and talk to township businesses and say, maybe we can promote recycling, maybe we can get coupons from you if we have such a program like that, where it wouldn't cost us
Correct,
anything?
yeah, we have not yet done that because I'm waiting for Recycle Bank to get back to us. But our canisters are coming with chip in them, so that we're prepared and we are able to, and the trucks will have the reader. So we're able to implement a program once we decide what that is.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Egger?
Richard Edgar, Hickstown Road. The gentleman who was just speaking about District 5, I live in District 5, I pay taxes there, but I have nothing to do whatsoever with the fire company. However, the salary that the commissioner is getting is actually saving the taxpayers money. He took over the duties besides chairman. He took over the duties also, I believe, of personnel director and administrator, instead of hiring other people to do that duty. So actually, he's saving money. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Schmidt?
John Schmidt, Walnut Township Avenue, Gloucester City. I'm not going to rehash what I went through or anything like that, or some overlap of walls. Can I get a yes or no answer for my question from last meeting that was skirted around?
What was your question, sir?
Do you think it's a conflict of interest to have the same solicitor as the fire districts?
I gave you my answer right there. I did not think it was.
Okay. Thank you. So you don't think it's a conflict?
No, and if it was, I have all the faith in Mr. Carlman that he would not be doing it. Thank you. Linda?
I just have a question also on the recycling. The 88,796, is that all? None of that money is coming from Gloucester Township. That's all from.
All from the trust account.
It's all from.
It's all from the grants.
From the grants. Okay.
Prior grants.
Okay, so we're not paying any.
Not coming out of the operations.
Okay. Okay. And the recycle chips that are in the cans. Isn't one of the purposes of the chip so that they know like how much in Cherry Hill? That's how they calculate the coupons that they give to their residents.
Yes, that is correct. Yes, it also is a management system, meaning that we'll know if we missed a can, we'll know whose can belongs to who, because they will be programmed using that chip.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barry?
Council, again, Joshua Berry. I still live on Acres Drive. Sorry, it's been a long day. I want to follow up on the past two meetings where there were a number of issues that were brought up that I just want to, again, follow up on. At the workshop, when you spoke about both of the emergency situations, one with the field and the other with the drainage pipe, in my opinion, you guys did the right thing. I know lots of times we disagree, sometimes very publicly, but in that case, sitting here in the audience, I think you acted completely appropriately. And Mr. Hutchinson, your comments tonight about the chilling effect of a contractor, exactly. I would rather have a contractor be proactive, seeing a problem, calling someone in the town hall or the Department of Public Works and saying, hey, I got a problem that needs to be fixed, it's outside the scope, let's get it fixed. So again, thank you, good job. I want to follow up on the last council meeting. Like a lot of you were in August, I was on vacation. I happened to be in Virginia, right outside where the earthquake was. I'll let you form your own jokes about that. But I was watching it on the live feed. And I just want to, again, commend the live feed that the volume problems that it used to have seem to be fixed. I don't know if anyone at home is having audio problems. If you are, please speak up. Okay, that said, I'm assuming it's okay. And in addition, I didn't get home from being out with the family until the meeting had ended. Literally within 5 minutes of the meeting being over, the feed was up so I could rewind and watch it. So for someone who's traveling or is not able to make it, if they have an internet connection, that was a good resource. The only complaint I have is that while I could hear everyone and I could see all of you, I couldn't really see facial expressions. But it's a web camera, probably not on the best feed. Then there were some quotes I had heard that I would like to follow up on. The first one, Mr. Council President, when you had an exchange with Mr. Schmidt, there was a quote, "I'm no expert on ethics." Could you follow up with that or explain a little bit what you meant?
What I meant was I'm not an expert on ethics law.
Okay.
I mean, I know what ethics is. I follow it every day in my job and obviously here. But there are certain laws that would preclude someone from voting on a project or voting on something here, or not allow Mr. Carlemere to participate in certain things, and that's what I meant. I'm not an expert in all those areas. That's why we have a solicitor to keep us abreast of anything that could or possibly be an ethics violation.
Okay, so Mr. Carlemere is our resident ethics expert. Is that what I'm hearing? Or is there someone who serves as the ethics expert that if we have questions on, we can go to?
I see that as a legal issue, so I go to Mr. Carlemere when I think, or I know the rest of council has spoken to Mr. Carlemere and said, hey, I may have a client that's 3 times removed and may be affected. Should I vote on it? Should I not? And he gives his opinion on what we should do on it.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. I just wanted to get some clarification. Second, the next two are about the issues with the hockey rink. And again, I thank you very much for giving that very clear and descriptive answer. What I was hearing before was a little scary, of the folks with the Hockey Association just saying it was because of the cold and the snow being removable. And as an engineer, that answer kind of scared me. And me being the policy wonk, as the folks in the group call me, I had done all my research on it. And so 2 things stuck out. One, if the concrete was poured in ambient temperatures that are below the manufacturer specs, why was that allowed to happen in the first place?
Well, the issue wasn't with the concrete. The concrete was poured to correct temperatures. There was a push to get the one rink open early before November, so they could have both rinks for November. The temperature was warm when the guys started putting the surface coat. When the issue was with the surface coat, he started putting on, and the temperatures dropped quickly that night, too quick, and it just got too cold for him. He took a gamble, and the gamble didn't work, and he admits it, and he's making repairs to it.
Okay, so just so I fully
There was no
understand.
additional cost to the town. He took a gamble on trying to get it out early before the weather went bad on him. Unfortunately, it went bad.
Okay, so just so I understand from a technical point of view, when he started to pour, ambient temperatures were within spec.
Right.
Just temperatures overnight had dropped. Is that correct?
Right. The particular color of that coating, the chemicals that created the color in the coating, takes longer to set up for the blue ring than it does on the gray ring. And I don't think that subcontractor was putting the coating on was familiar with the blue surface, why it was done other colors with the same process. And it takes longer to set, so he didn't give himself enough time, warm weather before nightfall, then it went bad on.
Okay. And then, and again, doing my research and due diligence, when I had Googled the Marge Martin Hockey Complex and Remington and Vernick, not to attack your employer, just they were the prime contractor, so I was trying to figure out who had the concrete pour.
We weren't the
No, they weren't the contractors.
You had the...
They were the inspectors and the design.
Right,
Okay.
the prime contractor was Chabot Incorporated.
Right, I'm sorry, then my correction. You had the design.
We did the design and the inspection, yes.
Right. I had found an RFP, and I'm sorry I had forgotten to print it out before I came tonight, that Remington and Vernick had put out to, I believe, Patterson. And again, I will email this to you if you guys want the proof of it, where they had claimed that this was a $4.3 million project between 2008 and 2010. And that number stuck out because, to the best of my knowledge, it was about a $1.9 million for the bond plus interest. And that seemed like an awfully large difference. I was just wondering, was this some sort of mistake on their part,
I don't know what the reference is. This is for a project for RFP on Patterson, New Jersey.
Correct. Again, I believe it was Patterson. I can follow up offline and get
It
you.
might be, but we did a master plan for the entire park, not just the hockey rink, but for upgrading the football and the softball parking throughout. So there was an original master plan that covered the entire park. That was probably, that was in the $4 to $5 million was the estimate for that. The hockey rink itself was the 1.9 million, but there is a master plan now for the entire park, and that was referring to that
So,
cost.
okay, well, this is the first time I've heard of a master plan there. So, is the work at the Marge Martin complex done, or is there still another $2 million left?
Well, we've done the work that's been budgeted now. We did a plan first for the whole park so we can see. Before we put the hockey rinks in, we want to make sure we're still going to do other improvements if the town ever wants to do the other improvements out there. Once the master plan was done, the township came up with funding for just the hockey rink. There's no funding that I know right now for the other improvements at the park.
Okay, so again, just I want to make sure I have this correct. The original plan they came up with was $4 million. You only chose to fund the $2 million hockey. The additional $4 million has not happened yet. Is that correct?
There is no, I mean, there was a total project that included a lot more site work, a lot more drainage. There was walls that were going to be built because there was some concern of things eroding. And when they went and they looked at what was necessary for the hockey rinks, that's what brought the cost all the way down. So there is no other projects that are currently being thought of, unless, Mayor, I don't think you have any other ones. And it was just the hockey rink. That was our goal. We actually sat down with the hockey organization when the first numbers came out and looked at it, and they were willing to do certain things so that continue to drive that cost down.
Okay, again, I just wanted to get clarified when I found that online. That number jumped out as, whoa. So again, so you guys then took that $4 million, cut it down to $2. Is that correct? And that's
Right,
what
I mean,
exactly
there was,
spent.
like I said, it was the pie in the sky, and we went, okay, what do we need to do?
Okay.
And that's how.
Thank you. And then I see that my time has expired. I got one other thing I want to talk about. Can I continue?
Yes, sir.
Sure. I want to follow up on some of the discussions that had happened with Mr. Schmidt and members of council last week. And again, maybe this was the earthquake last week, but I'll say publicly, I think that all three of you were perfectly legitimate and correct in your statements and assertions. And if you mind, I'll address two of your council members directly. Mr. Hutchinson, I had no problem with what you said or with you questioning him. As a citizen activist or someone who comes up and raises issues, sometimes very politely, sometimes not so politely, it's your job as a council member to call me out. If I say something that's out of line, if I say something that I can't back up, that's your job. And I saw nothing inappropriate with you questioning Mr. Schmidt.
For the record, Josh, after the meeting, I did go up to John and I let John know that I was maybe a little passionate in my reaction, but I welcome him in this room, and I think he brings up great issues. And I get an education sometimes when he speaks.
Exactly, and that's to be expected. Again, I expect sometimes to get emotional responses out of all of you. And on the flip of that, if you will bring up an argument that I disagree with, I'm going to call you out. That's just part of the nature. Mrs. Gentek, I honestly loved what you had to say. Again, I was watching it from a camera in Virginia. I didn't hear a lot of what was going on in the audience. I heard a little bit of it, but I heard people talk about it afterwards. And if there's something that happens in this room, whether it's with those of you up there or those of us in the audience, talk about it. If there's something that angers you or upsets you, bring it up. I like to see you talk. I want to see you talk more. There's sometimes a perception that the meeting is dominated by a handful of council members, and I like to see all 7 of you bring stuff up. So, Michelle, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Gentek, no problem whatsoever. I thought it was completely appropriate. But to what Mr. Schmidt was saying and bringing up, I know one of Councilman Hutchinson's issues were he felt that his solicitor was being attacked. Whether it's fair or unfair is personal interpretation. But you also need to realize, Mr. Carlemere, that in addition to being the solicitor, you're also very active in the party. And your family has got a number of ties to our town itself. Your wife, who's the head of the Housing Council, was also in charge of one of the campaign PACs. That's a lot of power in your family's control. And so that's going to make you a target. Guys like me who see a lot of these connections, trying to pass pay-to-play reform, and then I see that your wife is chair of one of the PACs that the pay-to-play people donate to. My personal feeling is, wow, am I going to get objective legal opinions? Whether you can or can't, that's just how I feel, and where some of the anger might come from when people do the heckling and the catcalls in the audience. It's because we see things that maybe not all of you do, or we interpret it differently. You might think that's perfectly okay. When I spoke in front of the June workshop, you instructed Mr. Carlemere to draft an ordinance as soon as possible. In fact, I actually checked the article today, and it was ASAP. Well, that was, June, July, August, September, 4 months ago. So the reason why I'm saying this is when you see some of the frustration, that's where some of this comes from. And again, I'm not going to go through the long laundry list of, some of the issues that I faced and bang my head up against the wall. But just try to put yourself in the citizen's place. We see things, we interpret them, and yeah, we get angry. Mr. Hutchinson, the fact when I even discovered the Carlemere relationship to the PAC was after I came up talking about pay to play, and I gave you guys a free pass on your party PACs. I said it's legitimately fundraising. And then you had tried to impeach me 2 weeks later, talking about the Republicans getting money from Washington, which I had already said I'm not even looking at. I went home, I then looked at all the campaigns and found that, and if you don't think I was angry seeing what I discovered, one of the things that I don't think anyone has attacked Mr. Cantwell in the year or two that I've been coming here. Again, Mr. Cantwell, it's nothing personal against you, I've barely met you, but he just comes in, he does his job, he's a different animal. So I just want to make that clear and get that out there. Try to have that paradigm shift when you see that anger. Ask yourself where it comes from, or pull Mr. Schmidt or myself or the citizens aside. I've said to all 7 of you, I'll meet you for coffee, we'll have you over for Sunday dinner to talk about this stuff. I mean, we are people at the heart of this. I do believe that all of us want what's best for our town. We just have different opinions on certain issues. You guys know where I stand on pay to play. I've been quite clear and vocal about it. On that issue, we disagree. But when it comes to many of the other issues, we agree. Right? You are my counsel. The fact that I'm a registered Republican and you are all Democrats, up to a point matters, but after that, it's irrelevant. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you fail and the mayor fails, my town fails. I can't have that. And, as a citizen watchdog, I will work with whomever is up there. And if the Republicans happen to sweep, and there's 4 of them, and they don't move on anything, if you don't think I'm going to be twice as hard on them as I have on you, you obviously haven't spent enough time around me. This isn't partisan. It may be political, but not partisan. I don't hate any of you. I don't think any of you are evil people, bad people. But we've got to get things done. So this is going on for too long. I just wrap up by saying, think about where it comes from, and why we're doing this.
Just, if I may, just very briefly, I just want to say that I'm an attorney, and I sit up here and I sit in the workshop down there and I listen to a lot of the issues that are brought up. And I got to tell you, our solicitor is amazing. He is so up on all of the issues, and if there is something that he isn't up on, he'll find an answer. And maybe I'm in a different position. I know as an attorney that I don't know so many of these things. And I think we're so fortunate. Secondly, I believe, although I can't say the numbers, but if you were to look at the amount of money we spend on legal in this town, we do so much better than any of the other towns around here. We really have a good thing going. And I just don't know if the rest of the town knows that. He is truly an asset to this council, to this town. And when I confronted John about that, I know that in my heart. So I spoke from my heart when I brought that up.
Fair enough, Councilman Hutchinson. But as I said, it's even if the work that you're doing, Mr. Parliament, is top-notch. Again, when you're on this side of the podium and you see some of these connections, those questions do go off in the back of your head. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Anna Mae Matalevich, 405 Hillcrest Avenue, Blackwood. Short and sweet. Same old problem, Drexel and State. Dirt road, a lot of dirt in the road, a lot of water laying there. And we have a grassy area that the water's just been laying. Mosquito farm. That's it.
I know we were going to review that. Has that been done? Or?
I know it's been...
Public Works has been a little busy with the other storms that we've been dealing with.
Oh, I realize that. But I'm here, I thought I'll say
Can we
something.
come up with a plan? And maybe we could at least have, I know you may not get to it right away, but if we could develop a plan so that the neighborhood could see it and maybe help.
I think a drain at the bottom of State would be a big help. Because pools are coming down State and they're coming down the dirt road.
You mean drainage of pools?
Yeah, well, with all the rain,
oh.
People have to put it somewhere.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Have a pleasant evening.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we close the second public portion. Polling directors and council, please.
Mr. Mappa?
I have nothing to report at this time.
Mr. Lechner?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Chief Earl?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Mr. Parliament?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cardis?
Nothing to report.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes, a couple things. First one to say that glad we touched on ethics. It is important. Attended a couple council meetings outside of South Jersey. Was able to go to a few others, just kind of see how they operate. It's been very interesting. So I think, yes, respect is important on all levels, both sides. Want to say that Darren, I too was at the Empty Sky event. I understand you had a beautiful event here as well, Mayor. Sorry I missed that. I was up in North Jersey, New York. It was a very moving time for me. I wound up on a bus with victims who lost family members. One particular father who stuck out with a big button on the side of his shirt with his daughter on it, and him telling a story about his daughter being on the 92nd floor, which was very chilling. So it was a very moving moment, and the speeches were very interesting. Actually, Mayor, I bought this booklet for you from the event, and I'm just very honored to be a part of that. Just all of us being part of that event, whether it be here in Gloucester Township or whether it was up in North Jersey. I wanted to also take a minute out, if I could. A young girl died here a couple years back named Haja Karoma. And I actually became very good friends with the family, the Karoma family, over the years. And I have to take my hat off to her mother because she's endured such a difficult time day by day. I've watched this woman regain her strength after losing her daughter during that very hot July. And on behalf of Ms. Karoma and the foundation in which we started and it had began, we want to continue on with her legacy in this township. I think it's important. And we are in preparation now of putting together a fashion show going back to visiting her memory with this foundation in which it started, and I'm glad that we are able to now recognize this once again and not just forget about the fact that this was one of our own that had passed away, especially a young child at our age. So with that said, that's something that Ms. Croma has asked that we continue on with that, and we are going to do that, and I just want to make that announcement to everyone. And I'd like to thank and congratulate the baseball team tonight for their awards that were given out. And with the sprinkler system, even though I am an advocate, I do want to see the fields, I don't want to see them lost. I just want to make sure we're being fiscally responsible, that's all. And listening to some of these other council meetings and traveling throughout the state a little bit, that's something that a lot of them talk about is their economics and where we're at right now financially. So I just wanted to let you know, and I thank you, council, for understanding that that was my opinion. And with that said, have a nice night.
Mr. Hutchison.
I want to echo what Crystal said. Crystal, I do respect your opinion on that. I indicated during the workshop I sensed a little bit of wavering there, and I respect that. I don't think I'm right, you're wrong, or vice versa. I attended the 9/11 ceremony in town at Jews Landing Fire Company, and I think accolades should go to all of the fire companies because it seemed like each of them had a presence there. It was held at their site, and it's amazing. I drove past it on the way here, and I looked at the glass covering the iron, and I felt so proud that this community has done that. And I wrote little note, 2 words, a recurring celebration. And it's hard to think or to justify why I wrote those 2 words. But when I listened to Monsignor Mannion, I think it is, and I listened to our mayor, who was incredibly eloquent, that was beautiful. It really is a celebration of what this country is all about. It was horrible what happened on 9/11. But the way we've come together as a nation, as communities, I'm so proud. And I want to celebrate the lives of everybody who's been impacted. So, I want to say that. Again, on a different note, Glenn, Orlando, Mayor, the Owens Corning project, it's moving ahead. I have to pass that site every day on my way to work. And I got to tell you, my stomach turns looking at that, knowing what somebody did to our town. It offends me, and to think that we're going to grab some positive from that negative makes me proud to be on council. It makes me proud to support you both, or all 3 of you. And Glenn, I know you've been pushing for that for a long time. From the second I got on council, you've been pushing for it, and I'm very proud to work with you. Lastly, the night before 9/11, I got to admit, I was concerned. I'd been reading stuff in the online about threats that some terrorists, were making, or that they thought that there was going to be something bad that was going to happen. And I thought about our ceremony scheduled for the following day, and I was concerned. When I got there, I saw how our emergency services personnel, and primarily the police department, had it all scoped out. I felt safe. And I think we really have something good in this town with our police department. And I know I give accolades on a continuous basis, but I really mean that. It's a job well done. Thank you.
Mr. Grabowski?
First, I'd like to thank the residents for coming out and staying out. Second, congratulations to our Glendower Little League. The kids did a great job winning the districts. And last but least, just have to get something off my chest about this responsible for better language. This has been tabled 2 times now. Now, it's amazing how people have questions when it's time to come up for a vote and don't reach out to anybody. But again, cost analysis, common sense tells you if you have a contractor A and a contractor B, and contractor A has an approved apprenticeship program, he will be able to pay one of those employers at 50% or whatever rate he is. So there's a cost savings right there. So again, I just don't understand why we need to table this for the second time. Thank you and good night.
Mr. Schmidt.
I too would like to thank everyone for coming this evening. Thank you all for your comments. And along the line of Owen's Corning, it is quite fulfilling. I was a young lad, 5, 6 years old, being busted to use school when it was active. So it is very exciting. Have a nice night.
Mrs. Ganton.
I also would like to thank everyone for coming out. Also, congratulations to the Glendower Little League. The September 11th memorial was, it was so moving and so beautiful. And I'd like to say thank you to the Shoes Landing Fire Department and everyone else who helped out in putting that together. I also would like to, we did submit our points for being a sustainable community. We're awaiting word back. So I would like to say a thank you to everyone who helped with that. Thanks, Len. Your Public Works did an amazing job with helping us, so thank you. And thanks everyone else in our green team who had helped us. Thank you. Have a good night.
Mr. Mercado.
Thank you for coming out this evening. Congratulations to the Glendower Little League. I also want to echo comments from my colleagues regarding the 9/11 service yesterday. That served as a teaching moment for my son. My son was 3 weeks old when the attacks happened in 2001. And to be quite frank with you, he didn't know much about 9/11 until this past weekend. And we had an opportunity to sit down and take a look at some of the documentaries that took place. And he sat with Michelle's son during the service. And, it's hard to keep 2 10-year-olds, settled down, but they sat there the entire 2.5-hour service and they learned something from that. And it's also a teaching moment for us as adults, because I could say the 39 years I've been on this earth, that's probably the time that our country came together, regardless of race, color, creed, ethnicity. Everyone got along. When that happened, we came together as a country. And it was good seeing that again, even if it was just for a day yesterday. In response to the emergency funds for the fields, this situation has occurred with other properties that we've had, township properties, and I think sometimes that gets lost, that these are our fields. Yes, there's clubs and organizations that play on those fields, but as residents of Gloucester Township, these are our fields. It's our buildings, it's our fields, and we have to maintain them. So rather than losing a field, I had no problem with Director Moffa and the Public Works Department moving forward with repairing the fields or the well. We had a scenario 2 years ago. It's ironic because the Glendower Little League had an issue with the roof for their snack stand in 2010, where that roof was going to cave in. And there was folks who didn't want that roof to be repaired. But that roof was repaired. A new roof was placed on that and allowed that organization to continue to thrive. And tonight, they're honored as district champions. And the field that was repaired, that serves as a home field to our Stallions, which were champions in midget football as well. This is an investment in our community. These are our properties, our fields, our buildings, and we should continue to reinvest into our community. So I had no problem with the emergency appropriation. Lastly, at our next council meeting, we will be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. There are nomination forms that are on the website. They're due by the 15th of September. If you know of anyone who has made a contribution, outstanding contribution to our community, please submit their name. There will be a program during the council meeting. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Mr. Bianchini.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to thank all the residents for attending tonight's meeting. I too had the pleasure of attending the 911 ceremony at Choose Landing Fire Company. Sitting there and listening to a lot of the things that was going on, it brought back many memories of that day and what we were doing, what I was doing, and how it affected what I was, all the preparation that we were going through at that time as a healthcare facility, looking to take patients from North Jersey down into South Jersey because we felt that there was patients from New York that were going to need to go to the North Jersey hospitals. That really never happened because most of those people passed when the buildings collapsed. As most of you know, I volunteered up there, and it's something that I'll never forget, the experience I had in helping individuals up there at the time. It did bring back why I'm proud of this community, putting that together, all the people, and there's so many that I don't want to name anybody, but all the departments, whether it's Choose Fire Department, all the fire departments were there, our police department were there, Public Works was there to help out. It was just fabulous to see everybody come together. Main Stage was there to celebrate along with us, so it was fantastic. It was proud to be at Gloucester Township, and obviously proud to be an American, and that's what it's all about. We get all this because of the people that sacrificed their lives for each and every one of us. And to be able to, my father always said, the most important thing that we have is our freedom. When he fought in World War II, he used to put it in my head that the most important thing is you have the ability to vote, and to make sure that we do that. And so, like I said, it was a wonderful program, and I thank everybody for that. With that, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good night.